supposed to put the first 500 in the safe and lose the combination.
Hey yo, what is up everyone? It's your boy Cav. Welcome back to yet another exciting video. Today we're going to be talking about multi-time frame analysis. Now, what is multi-time frame analysis and why is it important? Well, multi-time frame analysis is the incorporation or the looking of different time frames before placing any trades within the market. So what you're basically going to be doing is that you're going to be analyzing different time frames, and the reason for doing this is to have a comprehensive understanding of what price is actually doing and not basing a decision on just one time frame. Now, it is very important for you to look at different time frames because it would be very senseless for you to just look at the 5-minute chart and try to place your trades based on what the 5-minute chart is telling you. So say for instance that you would be looking at the 5-minute chart and see that price is actually making higher highs and higher lows, which indicates that price is in an uptrend. But next thing you see that price is actually breaking structure right here and also breaking a trend line. What a lot of people would do is that they would want to place trades and start selling with the market. Now, it is very dangerous for you to be doing this because if you're going to base your decisions based on what price is telling you on a 5-minute chart, you will realize that it is a different story on bigger time frames, because smaller time frames are known to be very misleading and are not entirely reliable for placing trades. What you should rather do is that you need to start on a bigger time frame and go all the way down until you see that all the time frames are saying one thing, and that's when you're going to decide to place a trade. I want us to go onto a slightly bigger time frame so that you guys can see what is going on right there. I want us to go onto a 4-hour chart, and based on just what we saw right there, you will realize that price is saying a whole different story on the 4-hour chart. So when we hop onto a 4-hour chart, you can clearly see that price is in an overall uptrend. But on the 5-minute chart, the market actually told us that price will be crashing. But what you see is that this is just a corrective move before the market continues pushing all the way to the upside. So this just proves exactly what I'm saying when I say that you should rather look or start at a bigger time frame and go down in a descending order, ensuring that the market is saying one thing. So what we're rather going to be doing is that we're going to start on a bigger time frame. I want us to start on the monthly chart. You don't necessarily have to start on the monthly chart. You can always just start on a weekly chart just to see overall what the market is telling us and go down in a descending order before deciding on placing our trades. So I'm going to go onto the weekly chart right now, and I want us to zoom out completely to see what price is doing. It is honestly this simple. When you are seeing price from this view, you can clearly see what the market is doing. This has been our highest level right there, and this has been our lowest level right here. And overall, price has been playing in this zone for a very long time. So ever since 2011, price has made this high, and this was the extreme low. And overall, this has been the zone that we've been playing in. And you can clearly see that from the weekly chart, price is very bullish. Price has been pushing all the way to the upside. And when we zoom right there, you can clearly see that price has been pushing to the upside. And this would be our support level right here. You can clearly see that price has come to the zone right here, and it is starting to push all the way to the upside. So overall, we can see that on the weekly chart, price is telling us that the market is in a bullish trend. And in a bullish trend, we know that we have to wait for the market to come and give us a corrective move before we can continue pushing with the market to the upside. Now, the beautiful thing that happened right here is that you can clearly see that price has been pushing all the way to the downside. Price has been making lower lows, lower highs, lower low, lower high, and price touched this zone right here, making an extreme low. But what happened next was very interesting because price made a higher high and a higher low. So this was a change in character, indicating that the market might start pushing all the way to the upside, and this is when you would actually start looking for buys to push with the market to the upside. So overall and so far, We know that on a bigger time frame, price is actually telling us that the market is trying to push all the way to the upside. So if we're going to go to the daily chart right now, we know that price has to tell us a similar story. Price has to show us what the weekly chart is showing us. So on the daily chart, we can draw a trend line like that, and you can clearly see that price has been in a downtrend. It has been making lower lows, lower highs, lower low, lower high, and it's been in this downtrend until price eventually broke out of this trend line and started pushing all the way to the upside. When we zoom here, we can clearly see that price made a higher high, and then this was our corrective move, and that's when price started pushing all the way to the upside. So if I'm going to go to the 4-hour chart, remember we're going to be going down time frame by time frame to see what exactly has been happening. And we know that on the 4-hour chart, we have to be looking for buys, and we can clearly see that price is currently playing at that zone right there. And if we're going to draw our trend line based on these key zones, we know that moving forward, we would want price to actually come back all the way to our level right here. And that's when we're going to start looking for our buys to continue pushing with the market to the upside. This would also be a retest of this high right here, which would add on to our reasons why we would want to push with the market to the upside. Now let's go to an hour chart to see what is happening there and how you would actually go about placing your trades. Now, when we go onto our chart, we can clearly see that price is extremely high, and we want to avoid such moves. You want to make sure that you avoid price at the zone right here, because price is extremely high. You do not want to buy when price is very expensive. You want to wait for price to come back all the way to our support level right here, and that's when we're going to start looking for our buys to push with the market to the upside. And when price eventually comes to this zone, that's when we will take our buy to push with the market to the upside. And what we're noticing from all of this is that you first have to go all the way to the biggest time frame to see what the market is doing. We have to look at the bigger picture, and then we're gonna go down the time frames step by step to see how price is reacting based on the overall trend that we see on the bigger time frame. So from hopping all the way from the biggest time frame and moving down to the hour chart, you can clearly see that the market is telling us the same thing. All we have to do is just wait for price to give us the setup that we want, and that's when we will start placing our trades to push with the market to the upside. When price is actually low on a bigger time frame, there are very high chances that it is not low on a smaller time frame. So you have to wait for all the time frames to tell you the same thing before you can start placing your trades to push with the market wherever you want to push with it. So if the weekly chart is telling you that price is low, you're going to have to wait for the daily chart to also tell you that price is low, and wait for the 4-hour chart to also tell you that price is low. And when the hour chart is also telling you that price is low, that's when you can actually be sure that price is indeed low, and you can start looking for trades to push with the market to the upside. But if the market on a bigger time frame like your weekly chart is telling you that price is low and ready for a buy, but when you hop onto an hour chart and you see that you are seeing a different story, you might want to have to wait for the market to give you that proper setup before you can start placing your trades to push with the market. Now, I want us to look at another example on how to use multi-time frame analysis to ensure that you only focus on quality trades and avoid making mistakes when analyzing the chart. Let's look at gold. And again, we have to start on a bigger time frame. We're going to start on the weekly chart. And at the weekly chart, we can clearly see that the market has been pushing all the way to the upside. Immediately, I can see that price is above this previous high right here, which indicates that price is in a very strong uptrend. What I'm going to do next is I'm just going to draw trend lines like this just to indicate that price has indeed been pushing all the way to the upside. And we can clearly see that where we are right now, price is extremely high. So if price is high on a bigger time frame like your weekly chart, price has to be high at your smaller time frames for you to decide to sell. But if price is low on a bigger time frame like your weekly chart, price also has to be low on your smaller time frames for you to ensure that you're trading with the market without any crazy drawdowns. But as we always say, that in an uptrend, you want to only focus on moves to the downside so that you can push with the market to the upside. This is going to be the same story in this scenario. You can clearly see that the market is making higher highs and higher lows, higher high and higher low, and price has made a higher high. So you're gonna have to wait for the market to give you a higher low on a high time frame, and all the other time frames also have to tell you that price is low for you to start buying with the market to the upside. What we see right here is that on our biggest time frame, price was telling us that the market is low and ready for a buy. And when price is actually telling us on a high time frame, all the other time frames also have to tell us that price is low before we can start placing our trades. Because if price is low on a high time frame but high on smaller time frames, chances are we're gonna have a crazy drawdown if we were to place those trades. So to avoid this, you want to make sure that all the time frames are telling you the same thing. If the weekly chart is telling you that price is low, the daily chart also has to tell you that price is low. The 4-hour chart also has to do the same, and the hour chart also has to tell you that price is low enough for you to start placing your buys. But if the weekly chart tells you that price is low and the 1-hour chart is telling you that price is high, you might want to wait for price to actually be low before you can start placing your trades to push with the market. Because if you were to decide to ignore this, you would actually realize that you will have crazy drawdown before the market can move in your projected direction. Now, overall, the market might be going in your direction, but you want to wait for price to give you the best setup so you do not risk blowing your trade before the market goes into your direction. So like I said, when we look at this section right here, we can clearly see that price was in a great setup for us to start buying and pushing with the market to the upside. But what you want to do is you want to go to the daily chart to wait for price to also give you or tell you a similar story. We can clearly see that we had a resistance level right here that turned into support. Remember, if the weekly chart is telling you that price is low, the daily chart also has to tell you that price is low. And we can clearly see right here that we had a push, a higher high, a higher low, higher high, higher low. Price came down to this level right here, retesting this resistance level that turned into a support level. And if we were to go onto a 4-hour chart, the 4-hour chart also has to tell us that price is at our support level. If the 4-hour chart is also telling us that price is at our support level, that's when we would actually start placing our trades to push with the market to the upside. But I want us to also go to the hour chart. And when we go onto the hour chart, remember the 1-hour chart also has to tell us that price is low. And how do you know that price is low? Price is low when price is retesting your support level. So if price is at your support level, that is an indication that price is low enough for you to start placing buys to push with the market to the upside. And we can clearly see that overall the market was pushing to the upside, even though it was ranging at this zone right here. But over time, you can clearly see that the market started pushing all the way to the upside. And this is how you use multi-time frame analysis to avoid making unnecessary mistakes within the market. You have to wait for all the time frames to be in agreement as to where the market is positioned. If a bigger time frame is telling you that price is positioned at a low zone, you have to wait for all the other time frames to also say the same thing, and that's when you're going to start placing your trades to push with the market to the upside. So to put it in simple terms, the bigger time frames like your weekly chart and your monthly chart would set the tone as to where price needs to go. And in doing that, you have to ensure that all the other time frames are in agreement as to what the big time frames are saying. If there's some kind of disagreement between the time frames as to where price is positioned, then that is your indication that you might want to avoid that trade, because there are very high chances of having crazy drawdown before the market can go in your direction. But if you notice that all the time frames are saying the same thing as to where price is positioned, then you can be sure that price is positioned at a right level, and you can start placing your trades to push with the market either to the upside or to the downside. This has been another fantastic video. I hope you guys learned a thing or two regarding multi-time frame analysis and how to use time frames to your advantage when analyzing the charts, and how to best approach the market to ensure that you avoid making unnecessary mistakes and profiting long term. If you haven't subscribed yet, do make sure that you subscribe and stay tuned for more. Peace.
Supposed to put the first 500 in the safe and lose the combination.